looking to have this project completed in spring of 2024. Look forward to that. The Select Board will hold its next meeting on Tuesday, October 10th, 2023, 7 p.m. in the Sala Meeting Room, Memorial Hall, 801 Washington Street.
That's it.
That's it, sir.
That's it. And at the well, we're not sure about what we're doing with that. We have a meeting on not a meeting office hours on Tuesday. Just remind people from 6 to 8 it will be held here, and then we'll discuss the open discussion. Well, we're not silencing everything. We're not. This is
Compo.
Yeah.
So I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Meeting been, motion been made and seconded.
Second.
All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. We're adjourned. Thank you.
On how you select me, you can bully women. You can bully women and talk to them on the street. They call them whores and losers, but you can't face them here. Chris Albert, you're a murderer. You're a fucking...
Welcome, Mike Crawford. That was the scene at the end of the Canton Select Board meeting earlier this week on the September 26th. Crazy meeting. They shut down free speech. They acted illegally. I believe the Board of Selectmen, that is not legal not to allow public comment at your Board of Selectmen meeting, especially when you're in the middle of a crisis. That's just crazy to do that. But that's exactly what happened. So I'm also dealing with some production too. Got to stop the video behind in the background. It's funny what you learn about all the equipment here. But as I was saying, they shut down free speech. I think they broke the law. I think the ACLU needs to get involved. They don't allow public comment during a huge crisis for their town. Got to talk about that tonight. There's a lot to talk about tonight. Got to take some phone calls, maybe some guests call in, hopefully. We'll see. We'll see. We started a couple minutes early because I want to get in, what we have tonight, because I know a lot of people want to watch Turtle Boy later at 9 p.m. He's got a special show tonight. So we did start a little bit earlier, but I wanted to go back to Free Karen Reed. We're doing that. We're going forward with raising money on this show. 50% of all donations tonight on the Cash App and through Venmo. We're going to be donating to the Karen Reed Defense Fund. I want to thank you, all the new donors and subscribers we've been getting lately, especially the ones that have been kicking in for our Free Karen Reed fundraisers, which we're doing again tonight. So you can donate on the Cash App. It's Mike Crawford 1, or Venmo, Mike Crawford TYJ. And we're going to post the amount that we raised on the last fundraiser for Karen Reed later on the show. You're going to see that number. We've been posting every time we make the, donations that you guys give us, we post those up so you can see how much is raised. Very exciting. Very happy to do that. And we're getting a little like pushback, like from it was just amazing this week, because we're not going to talk all about Karen Reed throughout the whole show. We're going to actually talk about some other corruption in cannabis in Massachusetts, but definitely talk about Karen Reed tonight. But one of the things that I'm noticing is after this crazy select board meeting where they shut down public comment, people went crazy. Chris Albert looked like a fool. Turtle Boy held up the signs. There were so many signs. There was a guy in a chicken suit there. I mean, there was a lot going on there. People in the parking lot acting like jackasses. Chris Albert running away. Just so much going on. And it was just like, we played our video. We played the live stream from that on our channel, YouTube, and it got an enormous amount of views, like immediately. And it just funny, even on the replay, it's like the moment where the woman says, F and you, she starts swearing, the video, like it freezes. And that's exactly what happened on the Canton website too. Like it's just, there was so much interest in that. And to feel the pushback, there's been a lot of pushback since then. And to obviously Turtle Boy and Aiden with the state police, we're going to talk about that tonight. But even with the troll accounts, so much going on. And even the ones like Coffin Daffer, I think we need to push back again against them like we did on the last show. So we're going to have some of that tonight too on the show. We're going to have a segment of that. Going to take your phone calls. But again, to kick off, I wanted to talk about the Cannabis Control Commission, because there's a story that we've been covering for basically like the last 6 years, which is cannabis workers and the health and safety and the lack of health and safety for cannabis workers in the industry, and people getting sick at these large industrial locations without the proper equipment, oversight, managers that care, a Cannabis Control Commission that takes it seriously. Nothing has been going well for workers here. And we discovered over a year ago this woman, 27 years old, Lorna McMurrey, who died on the job. And no one had reported on it. We broke the news. The Cannabis Control Commission had known about it and covered it up, so much so that they hadn't even informed their own commissioners. And our reporting broke it to the Boston Globe, who then the commissioners read it in the Boston Globe. So we broke this story. We began to become friends with the family and the coworkers, and the mom calls in often. I think she's probably listening tonight. We'll maybe take her call a little bit later. But what happened to Lorna McMurrey shouldn't have happened. And there's been a huge cover up. And every week, month after month, we've been organizing with workers behind the scenes too. But we've been asking publicly, please release the report. Please end the investigation. It's going to be 2 years, basically 2 years. And we don't know the findings of the investigation. And we've been asking for it over and over. And this week we actually got some news. And it was because of what's going on, the corruption in the cannabis industry, specifically with the Cannabis Control Commission. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get back to the Karen Reed stuff. And again, if people want to talk about either issue, I think we could keep up with multiple issues on this show. So we're going to be covering both. You can call in on either of those issues later on in the show. But I just want to get to this this whole thing here. And again, we just raised $102.50 on our last show that we donated to the Karen Reed Defense Fund through your donations. You can donate tonight. We'll be reading them off the Cash App and the Venmo. So this is what I'm talking about. This news right here about the Cannabis Control Commission. This is from a lawsuit that was just filed by Shannon O'Brien, who's been on the show, who we've been supportive of. A lot of workers have been supportive of, and we feel like she got suspended because she supported workers too much. That's what it feels like to us. And she just filed a lawsuit. And if you've been listening to the show, people have been asking me for, what do I think about this? Have I talked to O'Brien? And I really haven't talked to O'Brien since this came out. And I'm going to bring up Eric Hayes right now. He's a good friend of the show. He's got his own Twitter. He's an amazing guy. He's been following this too. He's going to be kind of my sidekick co-host to bounce some of the cannabis stuff and also the Karen Reed stuff, because I know he's into that too. So I'm going to bring Eric Hayes up right now on the show. He's got a Twitter. He's a great guy. He helps a lot of people too. What's up, Eric?
Mikey, what's going on, man?
How you doing?
We're doing good. It's a good, beautiful day today. Outside the whole day.
Did you go to Saco and the whole Kirk Minahan thing?
No, sadly, my child got sick like 2 days ago, required some intervention. She basically just came down with pneumonia like very, very fast. So it was one of those like quick things. I've been watching it. I bought the pay-per-view, so I bought like 6 or 7 times the cost just because there was a competition for the most people, actually the most amount of pay-per-views that you bought per person. There was like a raffle essentially where you could do a live show anywhere you chose. So it could be like in your house, in your basement, or
Did you
at, like
win?
some random restaurant. No, I did not. No, there's some idiots out there that like bought like 20, 30 times whatever the cost of the pay-per-view was. So I wasn't going that nuts.
Yeah, you kept it in balance for your family,
In
like you did
balance,
today. You didn't
exactly.
show up. We missed something too with my girlfriend last night. The New England Music Award. She's supposed to give an award and get an
Oh,
award
yeah?
and all this stuff. We couldn't go. You know, it's just like
Oh.
it's fit like family sicknesses and weddings.
mean,
we
the-
have a wedding coming up. It's just so much craziness goes on.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to make tough decisions.
It's very true. Though the one thing that did come out of the Saco show was, I'm not sure if you follow them at all, but basically they've been doing like almost an American Idol for a new producer. So
Yeah, I
Kurt
only saw
actually-
that because of Dave Cullenhane. Like
Oh,
I figured out
yeah,
what's going
yeah.
on because of his Twitter. He put a
Yeah.
video and I was like, "What's he talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, I get it now. I see what they're
Yeah.
doing."
Yeah, he
Yeah,
announced
that's
it
how
like
much I know.
2-3 months ago that he wasn't going to come back. So they started doing like a round table of some fans and then some actual producers who, do it for a living. So it was it was probably the best content running for, the last 4 years is how long the show's been going on for. And like the last 3 months have been just fire. Just like,
So
it's
you've
just,
loved it, yeah. This
it's
is
just
we're talking
it's
about right
comedy.
now. I want to
and-
make sure people know because
Oh yeah, I'm
some
so
people
sorry.
may not know. We're talking about the Kirk
Yeah.
Minahan show.
Yeah.
Well, you're a big fan of, I know, and that's kind of how I met you. And
Yeah.
that's why I asked, because I know there was a big weekend, a Kirk weekend, and so that's
Yeah.
what we're talking about for
Yeah,
folks
Kirk-
maybe that don't
Kirk-
know.
Kirk Minahan, former WEI co-host with Jerry Callahan, very successful show. And then EEI sucks, and they
And I
basically
don't
start
like
firing the whole
Callahan.
cast.
And I just want
I
to say I
mean,
do not like Callahan.
He's a tough personality. I mean, he's I don't listen to him. I don't follow his podcast. I know he also went solo and is doing his own thing. I mean, the two of them together though, it's to me it's entertainment. I hate to say it, but like, I mean, it's just, to me, and he does obviously take some positions that I don't agree with, but this whole thing, I mean, even the Kirk Minahan show it's a comedy podcast. It's just, they're just busting balls all day long. It's basically Howard Stern when Howard Stern was Howard Stern instead of, in my opinion, he's now jumped the shark. But anyway, yeah, sorry to bore your guest with that. Kirk
No,
Minahan stuff,
I
but-
think some people know Kurt Minahan, and some people will be mad that we're talking about him because I'm a leftist and I'm going back on all my morals about whatever.
Yeah, I think it's time to shut
Yeah,
those motherfuckers up.
I
Who gives a shit what we talk about? I mean,
I don't either. Like I want to talk
whatever.
about this because I follow this stuff too, and it's like, why can't I talk about this seriously? Like I even though I don't agree with like any of their politics, but I like Cullinane. Like
not everything has to be politics.
I
like,
like I know.
It sucks that like we have to. I mean, listen, I mean the fucking Kirk Schilling. The Kirk Schilling thing. Did you follow that at all this past 4 or 5 days?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
awful.
talking about.
It's awful.
I mean, he is a notorious fucking asshole off the field, but on the field, one of the most prolific and best pitchers ever to step on the mound. And RIP, Tim Wakefield. I mean, one of the most amazing. I mean, if you did follow the Red Sox since the early 2000s, which is when I got here, basically, I was a Philadelphia guy. I came to college, and then again, you just sort of got caught up in all the success the city has had with all their sports teams, but the Red Sox especially is what turned it all around. Tim Wakefield was a huge part of that, and so was Kirk Schilling. But like, I mean, it was very sad of his passing today, and I know that his wife was also struggling with some health issues, but fucking Kirk Schilling broke all that news over the weekend, and totally out of line. But anyway, we're jumping topics
Yeah,
here.
I
But
mean, we're hitting all the topics that people are talking about in Boston, so that's fine. Well, and let's get to another one, the Cannabis Control Commission.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
We've got we got so many documents we could be going through tonight. We have people in the green room. But what do you want to say about it? Because you've read the I mean, number one, I forgot to even say it. Trulieve has the Cannabis Control Commission. The news that they broke this week is that they're going to fine Trulieve $500,000.
$500,000, right?
At long last.
Long last.
Thank God. But
if that's even, I mean, like, are they going to even chase that money down? To be honest,
I know they left the state. I mean,
they left the state. I mean, it's great that you're, like you said, like, it's 2 years too late. You know, they should have been fucking pulling these strings way back then. I actually am interested in talking about the lawsuit, though. So if we can just kind of bring it into that. So I read the document, you know, and this is you're sharing it on the screen.
Yep. Some of it.
There, you know, there's not a lot of juice, I'll be honest. And maybe this is just kind of like her bargaining chips. Maybe I'm thinking, you know, this is kind of just scratching the surface. I mean, she's basically in this suit, she's saying to Deborah Goldberg, the treasurer, the person who appointed her to the position, that she unlawfully removed her from her position as the chair. And that's pretty much what this document is saying. There's not a lot of details. There's definitely no there's not a lot of content. There's not a lot of grasp onto. It's basically just saying, with a number of different points, that she unlawfully did this. She never gave them a written warning. There was never any you know, oral meeting. There was never.
But I think that she lays it out enough. Like, for me, the most telling part, I got a piece right up here. It says, you know, for example, the CCC's former chair resigned from the CC in May 2022. She's talking about the former executive director, I mean, the former chair before her. So the first chair,
Hoffman
left. No one knew why. I've been trying to dig around for that. I've tried to talk to Steve Hoffman. I've talked to other people. Guess who actually told us what's going on over there? You know who told us?
No, who?
Treasurer's office.
Yeah.
So there's loose lips over at the treasurer's office about what happened to Hoffman. So Deb Goldberg knows what happened to Hoffman. Do you get what I'm saying? And the same thing that happened to Hoffman is now happening to O'Brien. Right. So I think this is like, you know,
let's not. I don't want to draw conclusions. I think,
but I want to throw my hypothesis, what I know and what I think here. Okay, I think that O'Brien is basically saying, Goldberg, you know what happened. I know what happened. You got rid of me. I'm willing to put it all out there because I know I'm right on this, and I'll go through all the details in court. But the easiest thing for you right now is just to put me back on and not to go there, because I'm right. These people are doing shady shit at the Cannabis Control Commission, and I'm not afraid to go to court and have it all. Do you know what I mean? Like, And
so, I think she's laying some breadcrumbs.
The judge might. Because she's got documents here. This is like, she's quoting stuff. She's telling you who said what when.
Yeah.
And some of the people she's going after is who we've been talking about, who's been pulling the strings the whole time. Sean Collins.
So she's
in command.
She's not going after Collins in this lawsuit. She's only. It should be clarified that in this lawsuit, she's only stating as the plaintiff and the defendant, it's only her and Deborah Goldberg named. And I think what she is doing,
she is saying him. She is saying basically the reason why that these people filed these suits against me, these complaints against me, is because they wanted. She's basically showing how Sean Collins operates.
There's a pattern. There's a pattern of behavior.
Creates fake bullshit complaints against people when they start asking him to do his job, and that's what she's saying in this complaint. She's saying these are frivolous complaints. These complaints are frivolous to get rid of me. That's why they're complaining about
her strongest case, aside from that, because it's very difficult to draw straight lines with potentially whether, you know, the executive director was pulling some strings. I mean, she's leaving these breadcrumbs to make people believe that that's what's happening, and maybe that is. But in this document, the only clear lines that I'm seeing are that the treasurer removed her from her position without authority. There was no, I mean, she has the authority to do so, but she has there's rules and there's guidelines and there's legalities involved in that. You can't just say to one person, who's the chair of a major political piece of our government, managing the cannabis control, like, you're gone, like, without any reason for that, not in writing, no meeting, nothing. You can't just say she's gone unless there was some absolute obvious evidence, which clearly there isn't, because she wouldn't be suing if I mean, that's the thing is, Hoffman left quietly, right? Like, he took whatever came to him and just, like, disappeared, right? He never filed a lawsuit. He basically just disappeared. So it means to me that they may have had a little bit more of a file on him if they were just collecting, like she said. She does say that in this document. They were, like, keeping a file, and basically willing to
Let's read it. Let's read it.
act on it.
I
Yeah,
want to
go
read
ahead.
this because this is important. This is basically when you put something like this out on a legal document,
Yeah.
you're saying this is going to be my case.
Yeah.
And so what I
The
expect
start. This is the start of it.
this is the start of it.
beginning.
So
right.
that means I want to interview these people in court.
Yeah.
I want to interview
Yeah.
Sean Collins. I want to interview his people. I want to interview this commissioner. I want to interview, you know what I mean? Like any witnesses.
Yeah.
Like, so that's what they're basically saying. And what she's saying is she said at least one Cannabis Control Commission employee after her appointment informed Chair O'Brien that she would be Hoffman 2.0.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we've heard from many sources that Hoffman was driven out by bullshit complaints, and it's about
Mhm.
like racism. That's
Well,
what it is.
No,
And
I actually thought, no, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought it was harassment. Not saying it was true or not. It could be bullshit. I'm just saying
Could be either way.
I thought it wasn't that what you just mentioned.
Maybe
I
it
think
was
it was
harassment.
harassment.
I don't know. None of
Yeah.
us know. I mean,
No,
all we
right.
know is that some
Speculation.
kind of complaints drove him out. It wasn't
Right.
he decided to get a new job. Something. And when she was told it was Hoffman 2.0, that's interesting. Like
Yeah.
that's like a threat. That's like,
But again,
you're-
that's like right. But that's again, I'm not a lawyer. I didn't go to law school, so I have no idea what would stand up and not stand up in a court of law. But inevitably, right. There's going to be subpoenaed emails. There's going to be some communications. Hopefully, I mean, I'm hoping that Shannon O'Brien has evidence, right? She can't just go in there and just like assuming these things happen, right? She has to have some sort of like clear documentation that these people were conspiring to remove her from her position.
I mean,
since
I
the
think she's got a
beginning. That's
clear
what she's
narrative
saying.
too. I mean, let's talk about this too. On another occasion, in October 2022, the executive director informed Chair O'Brien that he was keeping a file to use against the CCC commissioner if she
Yeah.
ever gave him some trouble. So,
But this
like-
sounds to me like these are conversations already. These are word of mouth. These are people that are maybe
let me
approached
just
her in the
ask you,
hallway
if
or
you've been a commissioner at the Cannabis Control Commission, you know if this happens. So if you can bring people up that will say this happens over there, this is what's going on. And the other
Yeah.
thing too is like, who was the commissioner that filed the complaint against her? Because that's the latest from the Globe. Someone, a fellow Cannabis Control Commission filed a complaint against Shannon O'Brien because there were Cannabis Control Commissioners before O'Brien was appointed as the chair who were campaigning to be the chair. And I know this because they, some of their surrogates try to get me on the campaign for them. And as soon as O'Brien was put into that chair position, they attacked her. They came up with the fake scandal. They spent time on that. So it seems to be like, I think the narrative is very
the scandal
easy.
of her ownership of a prior
Yeah.
cannabis company.
Who ran that? Who ran that? You know what I mean? There's two people.
Yeah,
It
I
was
know.
Ava
Yeah,
and
right.
Maurice. So which one of them complained?
They're
I
the
would put
ones
money
raising
into
their
Maurice.
hands. They want to be the temporary,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I mean, so they campaign for it. It's like the narrative isn't that hard for like a judge or anyone to
Yeah.
see. Like there are conflict of interest, and if you look at what the other Cannabis Control Commissioner said, I forget her name. She's awesome. The other woman. There's three women on the Jennifer. Is that her name?
yes.
Yeah, Jennifer Roy.
Yes, Roy, Commissioner Roy.
She kept
Yeah.
talking about ethics,
Yeah.
conflicts.
Yeah, it makes me
So,
believe too that
What is
her
she
and-
gonna say in court?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
her-
so like
I think her because she. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mike, but
Go
I think
ahead.
during the live streams that they had over the last few weeks, I mean they were supposed to be spending the majority of the time
Right.
talking about the new policies, but a lot of this drama interfered with a lot of the policy making. And yeah, so Commissioner Roy kept coming back to the legality of choosing these sort of temporary chair position. Like she's like, no, like this is this has never happened before. Yeah, the chair has not been at these meetings and I've taken over. This is not
Normal.
So yeah, it's not normal. So there's a lot of obviously shit going on. But I do, so what does this document mean? So what is she's threatening to sue, or she's filed a suit?
No,
So
she's filed a lawsuit.
so where does this go from here?
This
it has
probably
to be
goes
seen?
to a court where a judge is going to decide. Usually what a judge will decide right away is whether there's any merits. And if there's merits to it, the judge may even decide to say, you know what, for now she's reinstated.
Yeah.
We'll figure out
And-
damages later. We'll figure out
Yeah.
if she's going to stay reinstated. A judge may do that. A judge may
Yeah, she
not do
does-
that. A judge
She does.
Yeah.
She does say irreparable harm, basically meaning that this removal of her job, her position, has damaged her career. Essentially,
Definitely.
it's tainted her chairmanship. I mean, now so let's play this out. So a judge takes this seriously, right? So then they appoint her back to her position, and she's
Could
going to
totally
she's
happen.
going to sit in that chair,
Yep.
and then
I would love to
like,
see it. I would. Oh my God, please.
I mean, there's two sides to this, right? That I'm thinking about. Obviously, they have gone through some of the policy work. So a lot of the stuff that we've discussed in the past, the equity programs and all these things, they have talked about that stuff. So I'm thinking that, this is drama. I mean,
what if she comes back? Do you think Sean Collins, how soon do you think he quits? I mean, do you think he stays there?
Well, aside from that, where did he showed his face one time, right? In the last several months, he was at but it wasn't at a commissioner.
No, he went to a worker. He went to a worker.
Yeah.
Event. Can you imagine that? Because he
some
knew the one
panel.
place we wouldn't attack him, go after him.
Exactly. But I don't think you're going to see Sean Collins' face anymore. I don't think he's going to show up to these things.
Well, he doesn't show up to work. Like he doesn't like this is another part of the I thought was so fascinating in the lawsuit is that Shannon O'Brien put down when I first got hired as the chair, I tried to set up weekly or monthly, I don't even know if whatever it was, periodic meetings with Sean Collins in person, one-on-one, and he wouldn't do it.
That.
He said I don't have in-office meetings ever. And then she finds out later
everyone has one.
Everyone else, the commission was getting them but her, and that's what's going on here. This guy, like I said, has been playing people against each other. Remember the last episode I said that?
Yeah.
And I didn't know any of that. I didn't know that he was doing that, but I do know that he does that. Like, it's so obvious he's playing at them against each other. And I think it's funny in the Globe editorial too. Like, I think it's maybe my friend Shara. I just realized Shara, who used to write the stories for Commonwealth Magazine, who's awesome. And she now is the editorial writer for the Globe. And I think maybe it was her that was listening to our show, because she seemed like she quoted some of the things that we said on our show about the governance of the like that he has instead of having one boss, he has 5, which means he has none.
Yeah,
that was in there in the editorial.
Nice.
And then there was about the there were some other things too. So it's kind of exciting to see an editorial from the Boston Globe again that feels like we wrote it.
Well, you have actually, I was going to mention, I posted a picture, but I was actually going to, Sierra Naturals. There's a location in between where I live and where I work. So I was stopping by to pick up some flower. I always stop by in my off time just to see, I'm always trying new strains just to see if I want to grow it or not. And I ran into that picket line, and when I was talking, did you see that picture? I think you retweeted it, right?
Yes,
there was I forget the union, but
UFCW 1445.
There you go. Thank you for sharing. And I was talking to them for 5-10 minutes about what they were doing, just trying to get some information, even though I had a general idea of what they were trying to do. And I was like, "Do you guys know Mike, the drugs?" And they were raving about you. It's like, "We love Mike." So I'm like, "Yeah, he's a friend." So, but my point is that like you have a very strong voice in this community. So
I'm glad you brought that up, Eric. The 1445 UFCW looks like they have a tentative maybe deal. I don't think it's 100% done, but I think it's close. So let's keep our fingers crossed that we don't have to have a strike and go crazy against Sierra. I'm ready to do it. I told them I'm ready.
The way, that's, to me, it's my go-to. It's for medical. I still think in the city of Boston, it's my go-to because I think they have the best products, the best variety, best products, quality. I never go wrong there. And then actually, I think the price now. I used to go there, and it was so expensive. So I was basically priced out. So I was just going to rec places that I knew had cheaper flower. But the prices have come down everywhere. The price of cannabis has come down everywhere.
Thank God.
But I was talking to the guy. He basically was saying that they were talking. it wasn't like a stalemate, but he said
No,
they were just
yeah, it's
dragging,
not done.
they were just
Keep
dragging their
up
feet.
because we got to keep the pressure on them definitely to do the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to see that place shut down. I mean, it's good people, and I know they do a good job, but good for them too, also to unionize. And I know that's always so, it's been controversial to not controversial, but I know the industry does not want it. But anyway,
It needs to happen. I mean, when you're talking about like $15 an hour, it's like, come on.
well, right. I
Give
mean,
someone at
they're-
least 20, 25
yeah, they're
like, at this point.
their main bullet points were like, healthcare for the workers, living a living wage, not minimum wage, right? And then basically just a seat at the table. Like they just want to make sure that like the whole like thing about you discuss it all the time, but with Maine weed is like there's a sense of ownership, right? There's a sense of like
Exactly.
belonging, where here obviously they just feel like they're working like at McDonald's, right? Like they could just be passed around and like get fired and be like fed like moldy dust and die on the job, and no one's gonna give a shit, right? So
Yeah.
protection, security, living wages, healthcare. I mean, these are fucking
And so
important
many,
things.
so many of these places will hire someone and then fire them before 30 days because they don't want to give them
Yeah.
any benefits. Like it's just
Yeah,
that happens over and over and over again at some of these
Yeah.
places. It's just not right. It's just
It's
not.
not. So yeah, I mean Shannon O'Brien, I don't know. I mean she's got a long road ahead of her. I'll tell you that much. I don't see this. I mean I think these are powerful people, right? I mean Sean Collins is a powerful person, and so is Deborah Goldberg. So I can't imagine they're just going to roll over and just give her job back. Like I'm sure everybody's pulling the strings and everyone's going to be talking behind doors, trying to make sure that Shannon never gets back to the cannabis control mission ever. Who knows?
I don't know though. Because I feel like when you go to court, especially something like this, because I think what you said was very sound earlier. You talked about the procedure. You have a hearing. Like anytime someone is like, especially in a situation like this, you're allowed to defend yourself. You're allowed to hear the charges.
Yeah.
She didn't hear any of that. Deb Goldberg, it's so funny because we had all the workers and the union UFCW reps, I think, called. I know Mascosh, like these are the workers, and even their reps are calling Deb Goldberg. The mother of Lorna McMurrey called Deb Goldberg. Like a bunch, I called Deb Goldberg. All of us did.
Yeah.
And
what
we
are the
said we
messages that they're
want to
leaving?
keep
Yeah.
O'Brien. She's been trying to help workers. Nobody else is talking to us. And Deb Goldberg didn't talk to any of us. Didn't give us a reason. Didn't we heard some gossip, thank God, but officially she didn't even call back Lorna's mom. Like that to me is like kind of just like cheap. It's like what happened to the old-fashioned constituent services? Like you don't even call back Lorna's mom. Like that to me is just so. But Deb Goldberg called back the Globe when the lawsuit came out. And all of a sudden she's talking about the reasons that
what was her quote? I didn't actually catch.
well, she said there were
Globe.
complaints. She said there were complaints from a worker, it sounds like, which I think is probably going to be Cedric.
Yeah.
Sounds like Cedric complained. And it sounds like I'm going to guess Nerys complained. Like that. That would be my guess. I think those two people who are have political motivations to complain. It's in their best interest for their future careers to complain. I think that they complained. And I think that's what's going on. I think it's a political hit job.
So
and
inevitably
there is a good chance that a judge actually might look at this and say, you know what? It just depends. It really, we don't know.
Is it the auditor that you've been talking with that released some of the information that you just acquired? Is that, do you know what I'm talking about?
That was a separate
auditor?
Yeah.
Separate.
Diana DeZoglio, who's a friend of the
Right.
show. She's been on the show a couple times. We love her. I love her.
Yeah.
I just signed her thing today too. Diana DeZoglio has a ballot question that she's trying to get forward to audit the state house, which I love, the legislature.
Yeah.
She was an aide at the state house. Something bad happened to her as an aide, as a worker. Like I think it was more like a sexual assault type situation. She had to sign an NDA, I believe, and something happened to get her money. But she was out of a job, and then she came back as a state senator, and now she's the state auditor. This is a working class woman who's really smart, and she's trying to audit the state house, and they're resisting.
Wait, so that's the question she's trying to get to the ballot? Is it?
Yeah, because they're resisting, and now she wants to put it on the ballot.
Yeah.
So, but she's awesome, and the reason she tried to do that is because there's all these, payouts and silencing people, and that's also what was revealed in this Boston Globe thing. is
Yeah.
that the Boston Globe said, look at all this money they're spending on mediation
Yeah.
and lawsuits.
Yeah.
So the same thing. It's like
It's
a lot
all
of
tied
government.
together, right?
He
This whole
said,
thing
she
is
said, payback,
right.
payouts, people, you know, and we never really know what's going on. We try to figure it out. But in this situation, Diana DiZoglio, we asked her to put out the audit because the audit has been completed on the Cannabis Control Commission, but it hadn't been released yet. We asked for it like last week. She put it out this week. It was like amazing. She's like, 3 days later, she put it out, you know, right after we asked.
And then
like,
what,
that's
there was
constituent service compared to Deb Goldberg. Deb Goldberg gets an F to me. That's just couldn't even call her back Lorna's mom. Diana DiZoglio, A+. I'd say Shannon O'Brien is always an A+, but now she can't talk to us at all. I don't even know if she gets messages.
What was in the report that she finally was able to hand over? Was it there wasn't anything in it, was it? There wasn't about the audit of the CCC.
There was some stuff in there. There was,
but it was mostly wasn't a procedural stuff. It wasn't like,
but there was like stuff like about the expired cannabis being sold. So like it showed that CCC wasn't following all the regulations. They weren't enforcing.
But so, like a slap on the wrist, nothing criminal, nothing.
No, but it did show some issues. Definitely.
Some just right.
Yeah. So I would love to see a lot more audits of the Cannabis Control Commission because I think that they may not be auditing the right things. If you know what I'm saying.
Did you like my my comment about because I have very few people that I set alerts for Twitter. Otherwise, I never get off the goddamn thing. I'd probably be fired from my job.
Yes.
But you're one of them. So anytime you tweet or you go live, I get a notification from the young jerks. But obviously the Cannabis Control Commission is someone I follow their threads, and most recently it's always been about just like jobs. They're job posting, right? They're trying to fill these positions. But then like there was that one post that they did last week about buying clones and how they were I'm like, buying clone, like that's just like, is that it? And then my follow-up comment to that was like the testing of the clones.
Would you buy clones from Curaleaf?
I wouldn't buy clones from anyone. There's there's very few people that I know that grow like I grow, which is like
clean.
Like
I know how clean your shit is.
I should do a tour. I'm in the room. I could lick my floor.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm in a basement. I'm in a basement.
You're an
but I have
clean guy, right?
I have air filters to the walls. I have turned this place into like, just a lab. I mean, it's extremely pristine. So I would not buy a clone off of anyone. There's very few people that I know that do this the way that I do it. And like I said, you get one bad clone, one dirty clone, one clone that has
grow. Especially indoor. Forget it.
It's because then you got to like tear everything apart. Like I have a custom exhaust system. You can't see this here, but like I don't know what you see, but like I have customized an exhaust that every tent connects to, and it filtrates the air inside and then outside, and it pumps in fresh air. Because like I said, I'm in the basement, so I don't get like CO2 is a big deal when it comes to growing cannabis. A lot of people like put like CO2 tanks in their basement shit, but I got 3 kids. I don't want to fucking blow up my house, with CO2 tanks. But but my point is that like if I had a dirty clone that infected this entire room, it would cost me thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and not being able to grow for a long time, you'd have to
for a long time, exactly. And all the people that I give free weed to, they would suffer, and so whatever, man.
That's why I grow from seed. I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk. Let's get back to real quickly is the Trulieve part.
All over the place.
Because we have a phone number too. I want to put that out right now, actually. If anyone wants to call in, you can call in tonight. I'm going to set up the phone number 978-560-3155. Especially if it's Lorna's mom. I would love to hear from her now if she's listening. Let me get the phone set up though, because you want to read that. Could you see that on the screen? How much Trulieve actually paid in a fine to recently, or not? They haven't paid, but they're talking about how much they might have to pay.
But correct me. They're one of the largest MSOs in the country, right? So like $500,000 to them is probably what they make in a week. I mean, so is that? I mean, obviously it's a large penalty, but where's the criminal charges? Where's the further investigation of the proof behind the cause of death? I mean, they basically said it was pre-existing conditions, right? They basically blamed it on her, did they not? That she died because
that was OSHA. Well, that was that was Trulieve. Trulieve did say that. Yes, they said pre-existing conditions.
Right. And I don't know. do you know, has any companies, any cultivators improved the conditions of their workers' environment based off of the Lorna McMurrey story?
Yes.
Like, are people they have?
Oh yeah. We hear
Okay,
from them.
great,
And
good.
even some are like even starting to do some things with ownership, and so things are happening, but just not enough, unfortunately.
Yeah,
It's like the rare one that does instead of the, many.
yeah,
But it's definitely become, something that the workers speak up more about too. And I think the workers, like at Sierra, I believe they have a lot of good equipment there, like, especially
good.
with the union. So,
Yeah,
but the amount was 500. I want to know, like, they find them, their suggestion is that they're going to find them over $500,000. It's 502,500. How do they come up with that number?
who
Like,
fucking
we're just
knows?
like, let's give them 2,500 more than
Yeah.
a half
Was it
million.
like
Like,
is that like the legal fees? Like, what's the
like, what is
2,500
that?
for?
Yeah.
Exactly.
The reason they said they're going to
Stupid.
fine them is because the company failed to follow workplace safety operating procedures, failed to process marijuana in a safe and sanitary manner, submitted untruthful information in incident report, and other violations. The details were
Okay.
redacted in a copy of the letter provided to the Globe.
Yeah.
Trulieve can appeal. Now, this is what pissed me off, and some of the other press too that I've even heard from, is they haven't put out a press release. Like they're
Yeah.
giving this info to the Globe first on a Friday, basically, right?
Yeah.
And
Bury it.
basically,
Bury it.
behind a paywall with
Yeah.
another scandal brewing, almost to
Yeah.
like change the subject or even like say, you don't
Totally.
have to get mad at us anymore. We did something. It's so
Right.
weird. Where's the press release? Where's the info for us,
Yeah.
the young jerks
Yeah.
that have been asking
It's not.
week after week? Where's,
Yeah.
for everyone else in the media? Like, where is it? It's so
It's not
awful.
weird. It's obvious. And that's why, like I was saying on the last show, is that, people like you and people like Turtle Boy, like your guys' persistence, if you guys didn't continue to bring up these topics and continue to grow your audience and be the voice of basically the voice of the people, these stories would just die. They would just die and get buried, and no one would talk about them anymore, and people would get sicker, and all this would just be brushed up under the rug. So, I don't know. Yeah.
And the commission wastes so much money. Like there's 93,000 for
Ridiculous.
employment attorneys because they can't, there's
Yeah.
everyone's suing each other.
And just out of curiosity though, have you ever clicked on one of those job postings?
No, well, I
They're
have in the
paying them.
past, not lately.
They're paying them fucking shit money.
Of
Like
course.
there was one like research, like I'm in that area. So I was like, oh, let me see what this is like. I read the job description, and then they're offering, it's like $60,000. Like, what kind of person? Like, this is going to be like a person who's like the coordinator of their research. So people who are
Right.
going to be looking at the data and the numbers.
Chump change.
What kind of qualifications are they going to get for someone who is going to be like, if you want
Someone
with,
wants
like,
a no-show job. That's what it is.
that's what it is.
You don't
It's
have to show
100%
up.
what it is.
And you can spend
No.
159,000 on mediation sessions.
Right. Serious people are not going to apply for these. And they're still trying to hire, I think, like a lead attorney. Like, serious people are not going to apply for these jobs. Just crooks.
Yeah.
People, like you said, who just want a paycheck, aren't going to show up, and basically just going to report exactly what they want to report.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Anyway.
just want to say that I really hope Shannon O'Brien gets back. I hope she wins this lawsuit, and I hope that Sean Collins resigns. That's what I'm at.
All of this stuff is a fairy tale.
Yeah, and I hope the treasurer actually calls back Lorna McMurray's mom.
Yeah.
Laura, if you're
that's
listening
more
tonight,
likely.
yeah,
Yeah.
give us a call, 978-560-3155. It's on the ticker, or just call my cell phone. You got my cell phone number.
So
if you're listening tonight.
let me ask you this though. So clearly this is like, there was like, these are power plays, right? So Shannon O'Brien started this whole thing when she brought up that the executive director was going to take a leave, right? He was going to take a leave, and then he was going to retire from his position, right? She brought that up in public, and I think that's what kind of got this whole story moving, right? And I'm sure that's what motivated
I
him
think it was
to
moving.
get her the hell out.
Actually, I think if you look at what Shannon O'Brien's lawsuit says, it started the moment she was made the chair.
Right. So for a year. So for a full year.
I think that was just Shannon O'Brien basically making a move. I think that I don't really know, but I think that Shannon O'Brien was like, look, Sean, I'll fight back. Like, you want to keep going? I'll fight back. I think that was just basically her saying, you know what, I've had enough. You've done this to me for a year over and over again. I've played nice. And I think she has a lot of, like, You talked about the major forces of Deb Goldberg. Talked about the major forces. I think Sean Collins is a cupcake. I think that he's just been there for 6 years, so he knows
Yeah.
how to play the system that he's got there. But I think that Shannon O'Brien, she's been through. She was one of the first women. I think she was the first woman to be a major party nominee for governor.
Yeah.
To lose, to be the nominee and then lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was like a
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton of Massachusetts in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
But-
it was early 2000s. I think.
Yeah, Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney. Yeah. 2002 or something. Yeah.
And
But
she,
do you think that Sean Collins was ever going to leave his job, and that's why she announced it? Like what, or do you think she just made that up just to kind of get things stirring? Like what?
oh,
like,
I
was there
think
any
that
was there
he's
any
been
truth
saying
behind
that.
that?
I think that's his
That he was going to
excuse.
leave.
I
Yeah.
think that I think basically what's going on here, if you look at the last year, she's been asking him to do his job.
Yeah.
She's been
And
saying,
holding
look,
him accountable.
there's
Right.
testing issues that the people
People are dying.
You're investigating the wrong shit. You're going
Right.
hardline on stupid stuff
Right.
and ignoring the major stuff and not communicating with people, not listening to people.
Right.
And you have a major problem of credibility. You got fraud everywhere.
Yeah.
All this stuff. Let's fix it. Let's get
Yeah.
real people in here. Let's actually fix this shit.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to fix it. He didn't want to be accountable. One of the first meetings they had that ever talked about Lorna McMurrey was Shannon O'Brien making him go to a meeting and answer questions from her and the other
Yeah.
commissioners about Lorna McMurray. And that had never happened before to workers.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff he didn't want to do that. He was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And she was asking him to do concrete things like,
Yeah.
set up a worker whistleblower.
Yeah. Right.
line
Right.
to
Yeah.
do, and none of this stuff has happened. Like
Yeah.
so this is basic stuff. She always says to me, I'm trying to get the low hanging fruit. So basically,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the easiest stuff
Yeah.
that will help the most amount of people that shouldn't be controversial. Couldn't even
Right.
do that. So
Yeah.
I think that Sean Collins, her pushback was, well, I'm having a baby. I got a family. I'm going to be leaving here anyways. We're going to hire new people. They'll take care of it. I think that's what was going on. But
Yeah.
at the same time, he's not telling anyone that behind the
Yeah.
scenes, I think. This is what I'm guessing. And I think that he was just using that as a stall to not do anything about any of this crap.
Yeah.
And I think that she was like, look, dude, you either got to quit and tell people
Yeah.
or you got to friggin' stay and fix
Yeah.
the shit. Like,
So,
you can't just, punt it down another year. I'm going to leave
What-
next
the-
year.
The former Chair Hoffman, what's he doing now? Is he nothing? Is he doing anything? Is he
I have no
retired? Is
idea.
he
That
where
guy
is
came
that?
from
Where's
money.
that guy?
He came from money. I mean, I
Oh.
don't know if he grew up with money, but he came from Bain. He was Bain Capital guy.
Yeah. But I
So
mean,
that
is
guy
he
had
a
major
potential
money.
witness? Is he a potential witness in this? Like, does he have anything to gain
I
or
think he
lose
could be.
by helping out? I mean, if he went through this but didn't have, either the resources or maybe he didn't have the energy to sue like Shannon O'Brien is, but receive the same treatment, do you think he would support her and actually come to her defense and say, yeah, everything she's saying is fucking true?
I have
This guy's
no
a
indication of that.
scumbag.
I have no indication that
Someone's gotta
he'll
fucking
speak
track
out.
that guy down.
I've tried.
Track him down and ask him that question. I mean,
I've
the-
asked
the,
him.
the Globe
I've asked him stuff like that.
the Globe reporter should be going after him.
I'm guessing that he's. My guess is that he signed some paperwork, like
Well, like an
a lot of-
NDA.
yeah, and an
So he
agreement,
got
like,
paid out. So basically, they
I'm
paid him
guessing.
out.
And
and
you be
said-
silent, I be silent. We'll make this go away. Like that's the type. I'm guessing. I don't know for a
Yeah.
fact, but my communications with him, he'll say nothing on the record. Nothing. I mean, and that's what I'm hoping too.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know me that well either. So maybe someone else who's a journalist that he has
Yeah.
more trust with. Hopefully they'll like. I think people should be asking Steve Hoffman that if they're a journalist.
100%.
Yeah.
He's like the missing link to this whole thing. He's the one person that could.
But I
he
think
could-
it
he could- he
speaks for
could just-
itself though too. I mean, we all remember that when he left, we were like.
No, but
Like
he
that
could-
wasn't
he-
just like usually when people were leaving, it was at the end of their term or they had another job.
yeah.
You'd have a reason. That was
Oh,
that
no,
was
this is
speculation.
the-
As soon as
this
he
is-
left, what was the reason?
It's the
Because it was
exact
abrupt. It was
Yeah.
just unexpected. There was
Listen,
so something happened.
Hoffman 2.0.
Yep.
She said it clear as day. So I think he is the missing link. If he's gonna, I think that's gonna be the win or lose of this case. They have to get someone like him to either on the record admit that all of these things are happening, or in Sean Collins' defense, and the Cannabis Control Commission's defense that it's all bullshit.
And other people
and he
too. I'm
left.
sure there may be other people that we don't even know about too. So that's, I don't think I think that this place is run like a fiefdom, and
Yeah.
people don't want to work, and it's like, so I think it's like a lot of offices that I've been in a lot of workplaces. There's great workplaces, then there's awful ones. And when you see the culture of the awful ones, it's about like these kind of fiefdoms that develop over, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, there's clicks and
Yeah.
and there's popularity, and then there's motivation. And like you're saying, people are motivated by positions, by titles. I mean, obviously by money, but no one there's getting fucking paid
Right.
money. So if money is involved in this, it sure as hell's not being. It's not salaried. It's not like they're getting it in paychecks or legally. It's coming from somewhere else. So what you were doing the Karen Reed today too? I didn't want to.
oh yeah. What do you think about it too?
I'm not like I was saying to you, I think in our messages, I'm not completely in tune with this. I'm a little bit confused by, I think, a lot of the key players. I understand some of the, like the Chris Alberts, like I understand like some of the people who are being blamed for the cover up, but I don't know, like for me it's dragging on a little bit too long. I pay attention to it and then I don't. So so is the court, what was the thing that happened a few weeks ago? So they basically just kept moving the case forward, and then now it's going to be going to trial, and it's going to be what, in March or something?
Well, that's the thing. Like every time we go to court, they're asking for evidence from the prosecution that they don't have. So it's like it keeps getting delayed because the prosecution can't give you know what I mean? Like there's so much data and collection and forensics, like just the hair. Did you see about the hair thing?
No, I missed that.
human hair?
I'm sorry.
So they're like, the prosecutions kept saying that they found human hair on
Their bumper?
the bumper of the car, right?
Yeah.
And so when the DNA came back, they said, well, we can't conclude it's human hair. So now they want to redo it. Like so much
Right.
shit like that, just like drag it on. And it's like a lot of it's revealing that the prosecution lies, or that the prosecution, like, why is it so delayed on a lot of this stuff? Like even the cell phone stuff and the data, and there's a lot of strangeness to this. And it's almost like, I don't know.
So do you have the stamina? You love the case a lot, right?
But
You have the
I feel
stamina
like
to
they're
sort of
dragging out
follow
to
it?
try to bankrupt her.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
their goal.
they mentioned that, right? And does anyone have any insight as to how she's doing with the fundraising? I know you obviously are helping to contribute, but
We just hit over $200,000.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And the goal is 250. And there's a major event coming up in Malden. Nick
Mhm.
Rocco and crew, we're going to talk about that tonight. They're doing a big fundraiser in Malden coming up. So, and we're raising money every day. And they're also doing raffles. If you join the group's Justice for John O'Keefe, Karen Reed, Turtle Boy Official, you'll see a lot of the raffles and fundraisers they're doing too. So I think the money helps. So many people are donating. It's unbelievable. KarenReed.net or freekarenreed.net is the website. If you want to just 100% of your money to go to Karen Reed, just you can go to that website and do it there. If you want to do some money to us tonight, we're giving 50% of our donations to Karen Reed too, through Venmo and the Cash App.
Nice. Yeah, I'll retweet
If
that.
we get any. Sometimes we don't get any. It's all right. People give what they can when they can.
And Turtle Boy's going to do a show, you said, at 9:00 tonight. Is he going live? Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a live show at 9, I believe. Yep.
Is it usually just, he does it not Sundays though, right? Is he usually just a Saturday guy or a Friday?
Yeah, it changes.
Tuesday?
Usually he had his like regular nights, but then he changes
Yeah.
it for like family or something with the case. So I think this was a family thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll watch it tonight. I again, I know these are all serious issues, but to me, it's still entertainment, right? Like if I can remove myself from the seriousness of the fact that they're trying to cover up murder, like I do appreciate Turtle Boy and his antics and the things that he pulls. Like it's serious, it's hilarious though.
It's funny because you
it's
bring the
entertainment.
entertainment part of it. That's what he has going for him in a lot of respect too. It's
Totally.
like the WWE aspect of it, but
Yeah.
like this time it's really serious. Like a lot of his stories. I mean, I think that's an asset. I don't think people realize, because I cover a lot of the same kind of tragic stories, like maybe not the same ones, but like the Lorna McMurrey.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is good to just kind of have like a little fun with it, I guess,
Yeah.
even though it's hard. Like, how can I have fun with Lorna McMurray? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, So, I mean, this
Yeah.
one is nice because you get the villains. I mean, I guess that's with Lorna McMurrey, we had Kim Rivers from Trulieve. So, I mean, that's where I think you have fun is with the villains. Hopefully,
Yeah.
there are a lot
right.
of villains in this one
My
in
God, man,
Canton.
they make themselves. It's like there's such.
Cartoon characters.
It's so incredible. Like they're basically just like writing a script, right? They couldn't have been more villainous. Like it's like they should have like an evil laugh. Like ooh, ooh. Like it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm happy to be on here anytime that you want. Anytime, message me. I hope that I'm not boring the hell out of your audience.
No, we got over
Um,
100 people listening. So I mean,
all right, good.
they've
Well,
they've stuck around, but a lot of them have said they want to get to the Karen Reed shit.
yeah, talk about that shit. When you want to
Yeah.
get back to weed and things like that, growing weed. If you ever want to talk about that, you invite me back
Definitely.
on. But
I
all right,
got
Mike.
I got 2 guests in the green room I'm going to bring up right now. So
All right,
thank
well,
you so much, Eric.
no problem, brother. I'll keep listening. So thanks, guys. Thanks you. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. All right, Mike.
And I wanted to talk about we're going right to Karen Reed stuff, definitely. Thank you so much, Eric Hayes. Follow Eric Hayes on Twitter too. He's a good guy. But I want to talk about this crazy hearing that went on. Can we bring them up? Oh, we got Jennifer and we have Nick Rocco. What's up?
What's going on?
How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Oh, we're doing great. I know everyone wants to give their time and then go watch Turtle Boy.
I'll have it on my TV so I can watch it and be here at the same time.
Awesome. You're the man. Thank
We're
you.
good.
So I guess let's talk about the fundraising, Nick, because there has been a lot of fundraising. You got billboards. Tell everyone what's going on and about the event coming up.
Yeah, we got a lot going on right now. I just launched the new bracelets. So where's the camera? So we got new black bracelets for sale. These are $10 a piece. All these payments are going to be going to the defense fund. Also, we got the new keychains. So these are new. We didn't have these last time, so we got keychains now. You can hook your keys onto it. They look very similar to the bracelets, except you can hook your key on it. What else we got? We got a new giveaway I just launched today. It's about like almost $700, $600 worth of jewelry. I don't know if you saw that yet. Some turquoise stones. And I'm not sure exactly what the other one is, but a woman in the group had sent me these. So I wanted to, considering that a lot of people who sold the popcorn were women and they got entries into the giveaway, I wanted to make it not necessarily sports related, but something that they might like as well, because they have 15 entries into that giveaway.
It's awesome. There's a lot of women in the group. I noticed a lot of women supporters of this cause.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as this event goes, I think there's about like 85 tickets left out of 250. They're $35 a piece. As you see, we're gonna have a DJ there. Someone actually just bought a fog machine for me, so that's coming to the house. So we'll spice up the party a little bit.
Is he going?
You coming, Mike? I know you said your schedule's hard, but
I can't commit yet, but I mean, I would love to go. Hopefully I can. I don't want to promise people I'll be there, then not, let them down. So
I gotcha.
I'm trying.
The photo booth, actually, we got, so we have it for 2 hours. Marcel from the group, who I believe used to work with Karen, he donated the money so we can get that photo booth. If you guys aren't familiar with a 360 photo booth is, it's a 17-second video. It's going to have the free Karen Reed logo on it, and it's going to play the song Tick Tick Boom. So it spins around in a circle. Everybody's, well, I think 3 or 4 people can stand, depending on how big you are. You can stand on the platform, and it does a video. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. Also, someone ordered a 5.5 foot cutout Michael Proctor to also take pictures with. So he'll be there. Chloe will be there. I just bought a blow up German Shepherd, so Chloe's gonna be there. So we're gonna meet all new people there this time, and dogs.
Awesome. Chloe's gonna be there. I want to get a picture with Chloe too.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't bite me, Chloe. I'll bring some treats for you. Those
Yeah,
scratches in the arms.
Foods
I've
and
had
food-
scratches on the arms from dogs. Yeah, that's funny because it's the claw. When I look at that picture, it looks like scratches I've had right on my arm, like from dogs. I'm a dog walker, so
even my dog, I have a black lab. He jumps up and on the kids, and they get those claw marks, and
right.
they get the raised bumps and things like that. And one thing I saw a lot of people talking about John's, how he didn't have any bites on the under his arm. And just for example, my daughter got bit by a Rottweiler, punctured right through the top of her hand, but nothing on the bottom of her hand. There wasn't even a red mark. It was just the top of her hand. So, I mean, dogs bite different. Every dog is gonna, if it doesn't latch on to you, you're not gonna, you might not have those bites on the bottom, just the top.
Exactly. That's most bites too. Like most bites I've ever had, it's just like, let go. They usually don't. I don't know. I've never had a serious bite. So,
No, I haven't either.
yeah. So, I'm looking forward to this. It's Saturday night, October 28th at 6 p.m. It's at the Malden Moose Club, 562 Broadway, Malden, Mass. You got a cash bar, costume party, dancing, DJ, that whole 360 photo booth with the boom. What is it?
The tick tick boom
Tick
song.
tick boom. Yeah, I love that song. I keep asking meaning like every time Aiden comes on to ask him like who created those videos and those songs for him. We got to find
The
out.
song is actually a song. Like
What is it?
The song is like there's an artist to the song.
Really?
But, yeah, if you just go on YouTube and search "Tick Tick Boom," it's an actual song. I think the woman from London that he has, who runs the Turtle Boy page, does all his videos as well. Like who created that video and put all the pictures together and stuff.
She's great. Those videos are awesome. Like I get all pumped up like when
I know. Yeah,
the
seriously.
show's starting.
If anybody wants to donate raffles for this event, you can reach out to me on Facebook, send me a message of what you're thinking. We got about 5 or 6 right now. But obviously the more the better, because then more people can win things.
I'm working on one for you, Nick.
You are? Okay. Send me a message when you're all done with this. But yeah, then we'll do a 50-50. Turtle Boy's coming, so he'll be there. I'm curious to see what he's going to dress up as.
It'll be interesting.
You think he'll come as a turtle, or is that too original?
I think he'll probably come as whoever he's most mad at the moment.
Yeah, that's
Probably one of those cops, Bukaki.
Oh, he's something else, huh?
We're gonna talk about Bukaki. What do you think about these guys? Because now they're going after people. Like I felt like after that select board hearing, there was just it was so overwhelming. Like the select board screwed up, the Chris Albert side screwed up, and then the next few days it felt like a major pushback through their trolls on Twitter, more accounts being created.
Yeah,
It felt like they pushed back, and I feel like mostly it's failed. I mean, they created a new Facebook group that they keep pausing. Like it's like they are going after Turtle Boy, the police, whoever that dispatcher is. I mean, that's horrible. That's gonna be horrible to somebody. What do you think about all that?
You want to talk about that, Jennifer?
Well, I am in that group, I will confess, because I think it's important to keep track of what's happening in our town right now. I'm not commenting in there, but I am just kind of keeping track of what's happening in it. Canton's a weird place to be these days.
I see a sign in the back.
No question. Yeah, that's from the first rally at the courthouse. So it's a little bit rained on. Some of the letters ran a little bit, but
yeah, I noticed some more fake accounts.
A lot of them.
Yeah. I personally, my thing with those fake accounts is when people fight with them, it gives them more, what's the word I'm looking for?
More traction,
more importance and more relevance.
Yeah.
Versus if they make a comment and they get ignored, they're gonna eventually go away because they're not baiting anybody, they're not getting anybody. You know what I mean? So when I see them, yeah, it really aggravates me. But it's there's no point of fighting with these people because that's what they want, right? They want a reaction out of you, and if you give them relevance, they're just going to keep going.
Pretty much, I think. I mean, unless you have like a show like Turtle Boy or even our show, we can kind of expose them a little bit,
Yeah.
which we've started to do on some of them. But like, it's so true, Dick, because like I have some tweets that I started like a week ago where I haven't even responded, but people are just fighting. Like, it's just like they go back and forth all day. Every time I wake up, there's another 100 responses. It's like, it's not helping anybody. Like, they're just wasting people's time mostly. And I
There's a
agree.
lot of
It's
that.
like, especially on Twitter, it's like I'm not going to respond to I don't know whoever these people are. They're especially on Twitter. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with me is if you're a real person and you believe, I mean, nothing's going to change my mind, right? Unless there's actual video of Karen backing into John. That's the only thing that's like an actual house, ring camera showing something like that happening. That's the only way I'm ever going to believe that she is guilty. But if someone with a real name and a real profile believes she's guilty, I'm willing to listen to them because I'm willing to listen to them because maybe I can talk to them about it or give them my side of why I think she's not guilty. But like the ones who are, no profile picture or like, a meme picture, like there's no point. You don't even know who you're talking to. It's
true.
Well, they're just looking to instigate. And unfortunately, there are instigators coming from all sides. And, we appreciate what Turtle Boy has done hugely. But he does have people who go and just kind of dig in just to see what kind of a reaction they'll get to. That's happening everywhere. And the good thing about the people who are digging in, who are motivated by what they hear Turtle Boy saying, is that at least they're not trolling us and threatening us.
Have you been receiving threats? Because you're a Canton resident. You've been protesting.
Yep.
From like actual people or fake accounts?
Yeah. What kind of threats? What are we talking about?
For the most part, some of us have received threats from actual people. Some of us have people, some of the people who've lived in Canton for a really long time have received threats from family and friends trying to get them to back off. The threats that I've received have been from fake accounts, but that isn't true for everybody. It hasn't worked. None of us have stepped back. But, this is our town. This is where we live. And we feel like some really bad things are happening here. So we're going to keep speaking out as long as we all have voices. And as long as there continue to be this many problems, we're going to keep speaking.
And what about the free speech issue? Because the select board shut everyone's speech down. People weren't happy about it. There's been a lot of letters to the editor written in newspapers locally in Canton.
Yep.
It seems like it's the talk of the town. What do you think is going to happen from here? Are they going to ever allow you to have public comment again? Or
Well, Tom Theodore tells us that it was just temporary so that everyone had a chance to simmer down. He said, never in the history of the world have people calmed down by being told to calm down. But that's what he decided was going to be the best course of action. They tell us it's temporary. They tell us that it will come back once things have had a chance to even out a little. They offered up this office hour, but it won't be on the record as far as we know. It will, it's not going to be broadcast. It's not going to be recorded. And as far as we know, not all of the members of the select board are going to be there. So
what a joke. So it's not public comment.
It's not public.
So they shut your public comment down. Do they know that it's illegal? Do they know that they're probably going to end up having to spend money because they broke the law?
The Massachusetts open meeting law, we've checked it out thoroughly. Does not require public comment. It does encourage public comment. The question that we have that we haven't gotten an answer to yet is that, given the fact that at the meeting before that, they had voted on this policy that gave us a public comment policy, can they just stop it without any kind of discussion? They took a vote, this is going to happen. How can they just make it go away? We don't know if that part is legal. It's not illegal to not have public comment, but it's strongly discouraged. And I know that there have been other towns that have tried to stop it, and that the ACLU has stepped in and strongly encouraged them to change their minds, and they have.
Has the ACLU said anything about this? Have you heard anything about that?
I personally have not. I know that people have reached out to them. I don't know yet what the outcome of that is.
What do you expect next? Do you think there's going to be more
Well,
of this next meeting?
We were at this last meeting with tape over our mouths, and there was a chicken in the corner, and Aiden almost ended up in Colin Albert's lap if he leaned over any further. So it's hard to imagine what's going to happen next.
I know,
I
right?
certainly didn't imagine that it was going to look like this now. So
There's the chicken. That's Sean Como from Canton Confidential, was the chicken man.
Oh, that's who it was.
Yep.
Yep. That's me on the right. That's the other Jennifer on the left. Yeah.
I think John's got some plans. I think something. We'll see. I don't think if John came as a chicken this time, what do you think he might do next time?
I would tell you, but then he might kill me. So.
Exactly. I think I might already be dead. I think I might already given too much away. Don't give secrets to a guy that does a talk show, especially about chicken suits and stuff like that.
But it was, it was a crazy meeting. And part of the problem that we've got right now is that the problems in Canton have gone so far beyond whatever happened at 34 Fairview. And I don't want to diminish what happened to John O'Keefe, and I don't want to diminish what's happening now to Karen Reed, because I think that they're both really important things to talk about and to keep light on and to keep pressure. But we are, as a town, dealing with some other issues that have all gotten tied together, and they aren't necessarily all the same thing.
Exactly.
We didn't. People think that he asked Turtle Boy to come to our select board meeting. He did that all on his own. No one tells him what to do. He does what he wants to do. We did not ask him to come. We didn't ask him for help. We do appreciate what he's done, but for him, this is a job, and for us, it's our lives. So when he's moved on to the next job, we're still going to be here.
Hopefully you'll be in a better place.
That's the hope. We've got some plans in place to try and make things better for the town in general. And they don't have to address it for Wicked Psyched. They have to take your request into consideration, but they don't have to put your item on the agenda. We've learned a lot about how the select board works in the past few weeks.
Awesome. And Nick, I silenced you because there was some background noise coming out, but I know you probably got some. Do you want to share anything else before you take off and watch Turtle Boy tonight?
Yeah, the last thing about the Weymouth billboard is that so the local signed off on it, the head real estate signed off on it. They told me that on Thursday, and they said again, this is what they're telling me, that it's supposed to be up tomorrow. And I know they've told me a couple days here and there, and I've told you guys multiple times, different days. I'm just relaying the message from them. Tomorrow, since everything's signed off on now, it should be up tomorrow. And then they're going to work on the free one that they're going to give us in Boston. So don't shoot the messenger. Tomorrow it should be up. If anything changes, again, I'll let everyone know. But other than that, I hope a lot of people can come to the fundraiser on the 28th. I think it's going to be a good time. So out of the ticket sales, $1,500 is going to be used for the food, and then other than that, there's going to be about over 7,000 just in ticket sales alone. That's going to be going to Karen, and then whatever we make from the raffles and Taste Great Cakes is going to be there selling cakes and cookies again. And I know a few people were asking about the lawn signs, so I'm trying to get Kate to come, or if anybody else has lawn signs that want to come and sell them there. As long as 100% of the proceeds are going to Karen, we're open to other people selling things there. It just makes it a lot easier, especially with, a lot of new people joining this group who want to get involved and want to do things. I think it's important that we know a little bit about them, because obviously things happen, right? When money is involved, things happen. And I try to avoid any of that. So, if people do want to help out and sell things, let me know. But most likely we would have to do something where it's like 100% of the proceeds are going to Karen's defense fund.
Awesome. It sounds like it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, I hope
Halloween
you can
party.
make it, dude. Hope you can make it.
I'm going to try.
If we sell out of tickets and you plan on coming, let me know. Yeah, we'll save you a seat.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick.
All right, man.
And
Have a
where
good
can
night,
people
guys.
get? Where can people? It's just the Facebook group. Like, where can people, if they want tickets right now to that, find it?
If they go on eventbrite.com and just search Karen Reed Halloween fundraiser, they can go on there, or they can go to your Facebook. I know you shared the event page.
That's right.
It's in the featured section of the Facebook page. It's also, Turtle Boy posted it, Clarence Woods Emerson posted it. So there's a lot of places you can find it. I know a few people, like one woman, she bought 10 tickets and gave them out to people, to people who couldn't really afford it or something like that wanted to go. So and I think there are a few other people who do have tickets that are going to be giving them away as well. So if there's anybody who, might not be able to afford it, you can send me a message. I can link you up with the people who are giving tickets away for free. My name is Nick Rocco on Facebook, so you can find me there. If not, right on the website there, Eventbrite.
Awesome. Thank you so much what you're doing, Nick Rocco, for Karen Reed Defense Fund. It's going to be an awesome event. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I hope you can make it. Jennifer, do you plan on coming, or is it a little too far?
I can't be there that night, but like I said, I've got some raffle stuff I'm pulling together for you.
Okay.
I'll be there in spirit.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Have a good night.
You too. And we still with Jennifer too. She's one of the effing random citizens from Canton.
Yeah.
What's going to happen next? I mean, when is the next hearing? I know that they're supposed to do the thing on Tuesday. It's like one-on-one, which is ridiculous. But when's the next actual hearing? In like 2 weeks?
The next select board meeting is the following week. So
okay,
not this Tuesday, the following Tuesday.
The following Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
It is. It is. And we'll all be there. I can't promise that I'll be there with tape on my mouth again. That wasn't that much fun.
Yeah. Do you think they'll let you guys speak this time?
Not much fun either. So
do you think they'll let people speak this time?
Well, you heard the question at the end of the last meeting, right before the uproar. Will the commoners be allowed to speak? He certainly has a way with words. That they still have not decided if they're going to let us speak yet or not. but we'll see. You know, they're going to hear eventually. They can't keep us quiet forever.
I know, right?
And if they try to keep us quiet for too long, they're going to hear from us um, in April when we vote, you know? Maybe before then.
What do you think about to go to some other jokers beyond the select board? What do you think about these two jokers we have on the screen, Bukaki and Proctor, who are now going after Turtle Boy sources? They're subpoena, they're going after people's phones, not the Albert phones or the McCabe phones. They're going after someone that tipped off Turtle Boy. They're going after their phone and doing a subpoena for their phone. What do you think about that?
You know, there's a level of sort of behind the scenes that happens in journalism, and I think that it's going to backfire on them. I really do. You know, I think that every journalist has their sources, and that it's a bad precedent to set to go after them like that. And I think it's going to backfire on them.
I do too, but unfortunately, I think someone's going to be punished for it. I think this person that they're going to, that they subpoenaed their phone is probably going to lose a job and get in trouble. And for what? So these two state troopers can make more fools of themselves than they already have. I mean,
yeah, I don't know who's behind all of the memes there, but
yeah,
they're
these are from Canton Confidential.
Yeah,
they're anonymous posts on Canton Confidential. We love them. So I've
yes.
been. Here's another one. Oh, actually, let's go through some of these. This about Jennifer McCabe's car. She was at Proctor's house this week. This is how this scandal started with, Turtle Boy got a picture of the car, and then a few people ran the license plates. One of the people, apparently Yuri, the guy on the left here,
Yep.
Bukaki, he went and subpoenaed their phone, and it's basically going to press charges, it sounds like, against the person who ran the license plates for Turtle Boy, which is just like they're looking for crimes to investigate against Turtle Boy now, to harass Turtle Boy. They're not trying to investigate a crime, a real crime, not a killing, a murder. They're trying to investigate the journalist. And here's these two guys. Here's Bukaki and Proctor again. Proctor says, "I don't know the McAlberts," and there they all are. All the McAlberts. I like that. The McAlberts. Put both names together. Make it easy. Here's all the pictures of the McAlberts there with Proctor and his family.
This is part of the thing that I don't understand, is that regardless of how someone feels about Karen Read, whether they think she's innocent or she had an unfortunate, horrible accident, or they think she ran John O'Keefe over on purpose, regardless of what they think about that, if you look at just the police work that happened that night, it's horrible. It's there's so many questions and holes in it, and that's one of the things that we've asked repeatedly of the select board and of the police department, of the chief. What are the, fine, you can't talk about the case. That's great. Don't talk about the case. Tell us what the procedures are that the police department follows in any investigation. That's not a secret. That has nothing to do with the actual case, and they won't answer that question either.
Cover up mode.
So, even if you think that Karen Read is guilty, doesn't the question of why they won't answer those things bother you? Doesn't the fact that the crime scene was left unsecured bother you? Doesn't the fact that none of the video footage from the neighborhood was collected bother you? Those are all things that you hear about happening in other places in events where there's a question of whether there was a crime committed or not. Why did they not happen here?
And the library footage missing.
Yeah.
We're missing library footage. Oh, we're just missing a couple minutes when Karen Reed drove by with the taillight. That
Yeah. So, if there's absolutely nothing that happened, even in terms of a cover up, even if it was just horribly screwed up police practice and IT practice and all of that, don't we want to make those things better for our town?
right?
So why aren't you answering them?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Mm.
There's so many issues like that. Just the basics. Like when Sean on the golf came on, it's like the first thing he said is they didn't follow any procedures. The basics of law enforcement.
And that's disturbing to those of us who continue to live here and who, I was brought up to trust the police. I never questioned whether or not I could trust the person on the other end of a 911 call.
Do you know about Jennifer Coffindaffer?
I know some things about her. I don't know a whole lot.
Why do you think that she is so ignoring that? Like, you got Sean on the golf, who was former DEA, who noticed right away they didn't follow procedure. You got this former FBI agent who basically doesn't want to hear anything that supports Karen Reed. And like the basics that we just talked about, she's supposed to be law enforcement. She won't look at this stuff. I mean, I think it's just because she hates Turtle Boy. I think that's 100%. I'm just wondering, what do you think about it?
Well, and it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense because there has to be accountability. So if she's not insisting on accountability, then you have to think it's personal.
I think that's it. And it's funny, she just went after Turtle Boy. And I think in a way, she kind of going after us too, because we're doing some of the same stuff Turtle Boy is. We're raising money and giving 50% to Karen Reed. She totally criticized Aiden for doing that. And basically said, he's just about the money. He's just about the money. And, I looked at her Twitter, which has 73,000 followers, which is probably her number one asset for promoting her brand.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed both links are to this expert witness business she has cooking. And I just thought, like, I guess if you want to be an expert witness, the way that you would probably get that business is to be seen on television and to have a big social media following on some place like Twitter with 73,000 followers. So both the links on there are to her expert witness. So I thought, how much do they get paid compared to what Aiden's getting paid? They say it's average of $500 an hour. She's got her expert witness, and she actually talked about it. And she basically lamented that when experts only get paid $25,000 a case, it's not enough. It's a sad state of affairs when I get 25 grand. So this woman's getting $25,000 per expert witness really case. That's what she's hoping for. At least that's like lowball number. So I asked her, I said, is that fair for you to criticize Aiden when you're promoting yourself and getting much more money? Is that fair? Aren't you a fraud? Aren't you a bullshit artist? Because you're in it for the money. It seems like more than he has, a 25 grand ahead. And she blocked me. Like that was it. Like I had been going after her for months on this Twitter, and she never blocked me. She didn't respond most of the time. But once I brought up that she's making at least 25 grand per expert witness, that was it. That was when I was done. Wow. What do you think about that one, Jennifer?
I prefer expert witnesses who are familiar with procedures and protocols and know how to answer questions about them, but that's just me.
I think she knows how to promote herself on Twitter.
Yeah.
And knows how to block people.
Yeah. I wish I could get paid $25,000 to block people on Twitter.
Unbelievable, right? When we're doing shows, we might get a couple hundred. She's getting $25,000
Mm.
per case, and she probably get the hotels paid for, and she wants to go after Nick Rocco and go after me and go after Aiden, and it's like no, like it's like the Wendy Murphy too. All those people that show up for Karen Reed at the protest to support her at the courthouse, they're
Mhm.
all paid. We're all paid. Did you?
Yeah.
Did you get paid? Did you show up to the courthouse?
Yeah, I got paid. Yeah.
What'd you
No,
get paid?
yeah. Let me just make it clear. I didn't get paid.
You got to say it clearly to them. They don't understand
I
humor.
did not get paid.
Yeah.
You know, I paid for my board and my markers and my coffee that I had in my thermos, and nobody paid me.
Do you think anyone got paid to show up there besides like the attorneys
No.
and the media people? Basically, I mean, that was it. The media and the attorneys and the judges and the court people. I mean, that's none of the protesters got paid, right?
I know a lot of the people who were there protesting. A lot of them, a good number of them, are people who are sitting with me at our select board meetings. None of the protesters got paid to be there.
For an attorney that's practicing law, Wendy Murphy, to claim that protesters are being paid to show up for Karen Reed with no evidence, and you knowing the folks who are showing up, I'm knowing some of the people showing up. I haven't seen any evidence of anybody being paid. I mean, are you surprised that someone like that is practicing law in Massachusetts and will like throw up false information on Twitter like that about a case that she's not even involved in?
Mike, nothing surprises me anymore. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
I'm no longer surprised. Sometimes I'm amused, sometimes I'm aghast, but I'm never surprised.
If you got to talk to Wendy Murphy about that, like the paid witnesses, what would you say to her directly?
I tell her she missed out. I missed out on my check, you know? I didn't know that there was an option to get paid. I was there because I felt like it was the right thing to do. I was there because I felt like I couldn't be there. So, you know, and knowing the people that were there, I have friends who took time off of work. The first time I was actually off anyway. The second day I had to be in at work a little bit later. But, you know, these are people who took time out of their lives because they think it was the right thing to do. And because someone asked me, you know, what it is about this case that has people in Canton so up in arms. And I said, it's because we all look at her and we think that in the wrong time, wrong place, any one of us could be Karen Reed.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's scary enough to send us all out, you know, with no paycheck to stand outside the courthouse and hold up our signs and, you know, stand outside on our main street in Canton and stand up on our overpasses during Patriots game traffic and wherever it is that we can, because there but for the grace of God, it could be any one of us.
That's it. I mean, it could be any one of us. It's unbelievable that it's still going on, but this happens a lot. This isn't just an isolated incident either, but this one's salacious. It's pretty obvious. It's in our face. We did get a contribution tonight. We got Kevin MC or Kevin Mick. He sent us $25. Thank you so much, Kevin, for the donation. That means $12.50 goes to the Karen Reed Fund. You are our one donor. I feel like we should like ring a bell for him right now. Came through tonight. He came through early too. That was at like 8:11. Very good timing. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah. Another $12.50 tonight going to Karen Reed. We'd love more if people want to donate after. I know a lot of people watch the show afterwards too. It's so funny. Like, it seems like, especially on the live shows on YouTube and Facebook, we get like twice as many views, like right after, like at midnight. Like people start, and as soon as Turtle Boy's over, people are going to come back over here and watch the rest of the show. I know they are. So if you're watching it later, you can still contribute. You can still give money through the Cash App or Venmo. We're collecting money. 50% of the proceeds tonight go to the Free Karen Reed Fund for her defense. And we're trying to get up to 250,000. There's also the big fundraiser coming up, Halloween party. We talked about that tonight.
Seems like it's going to be quite an event.
Oh my God. He's got fog machines. I like that 360 thing too. He's talking 360 video.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, that song, the Tick Tick Boom song.
Yes.
I know that song
Is that
because
Saliva?
Scooby-Doo movie.
Oh, Scooby-Doo. Okay. I was thinking it might have been that Saliva song.
Yeah, my son was a huge Scooby-Doo fan.
Scooby-Doo.
So
I'm going to look that up.
I
now I
heard
want to
it
hear that song.
constantly.
I want to find that song now. Like later on tonight on YouTube, I'll be looking up Scooby-Doo.
Tick Tick Boom.
Tick Tick Boom.
Oh. And then it gets stuck in your head. So
is there anything else you want to talk about tonight? Like, I know there's like Facebook group wars going on. People are getting mad at each other. I even saw a post going after you on one of the groups.
Did you?
It just seems like people are forgetting.
I haven't seen that one yet.
You haven't seen that one? Oh. But have you seen like kind of the drama going on, like back and forth between the groups and stuff?
Oh,
It's just like,
yeah. It's, you know, it's people very much want to be heard. And when they don't feel like they're being heard, they strike out. And a lot of people don't feel like they're being heard right now. And you know, it gets ugly out there. There's some real ugliness in all of those groups. Every single one of them, there's ugliness. There was an argument in Canton Confidential today by two people who were both saying that we shouldn't ban books, but they were arguing with each other regardless. I mean, it's, you know, there's a lot of arguing going on. People are just, and part of the reason that no one feels heard is because they're all talking over each other. So,
social media breeds it. I mean, I think we all need to just calm down a little bit and realize that Sean and Turtle Boy, if they have issues, they'll figure it out. They'll work it out. We don't need to pick sides and create. It's just, I don't know.
Well, I have to say, I'm in both Karen Reed groups.
I'm in both
in
too.
Canton Confidential and in
I'm in all of them.
New Canton group.
I'm even in that one. If they keep me there, I don't know. I posted something and then they were pending approval and then they asked me to do the questions again. I'm like, what? You didn't like my first ones, which were like, the answers were like, did you see the answers I had?
I didn't see them.
Oh, I was like, they're like, how can we make Canton better? I was like, get Chris Albert to pay the pepperoni man.
You know, I used to work for the town once upon a time.
Oh, you did?
I did. And my office was right down the street from D&E. And every once in a while I would walk down there. They had one thing on the menu that I really liked.
What was that?
They make a non-mediocre chicken wrap.
Do they still have it or do they get rid of that?
I don't know. I haven't been in a while. But when I needed something to eat fast, you know, it was a quick dash down the street. But I don't work for the town anymore, so.
And what did you think about Chris Albert? Twofold. I mean, he sent letters to citizens earlier in the year, basically threatening them, like cease and desist, stop talking about me in public, right?
Yep.
And now he's went to court and tried to get a protection order against Aiden Turtle Boy, and he failed. And what do you think about that? Like, kind of just even doing that? Like, is that What's up with him? What's up with him?
Well, full disclosure, I campaigned for his opponent. I
Who should have
was a
won?
big
Who I would have
supporter
voted
of
for.
Lisa
Yeah.
Lopez.
Yeah.
And campaigned for her, voted for her. Was very sorry that she didn't get elected. A few days after the election, I started a conversation, attempted to start a conversation in the other Canton group, the Everything Canton group, about why it is that we have such voter apathy and how can we get more people out to vote. And I was accused roundly of just nursing sour grapes because my candidate didn't win. And that was when I got the first angry, thinly veiled threat from a fake account on Facebook. I don't know what he's getting out of this. I can't imagine what he's getting out of being at those board meetings and having all of this vitriol thrown at him. I mean, I can't imagine why. I mean, he made this statement when he was running that he wanted to be on the select board because he loved Canton. And his being there is certainly not helping the town in any way, shape, or form. Outside of, putting aside anything about his qualifications, anything about the tax liens, about the hit and run, about what happened at his brother's house, putting aside any of that, if he loves Canton, wouldn't he want to do what he could to help this get better?
Exactly.
And his being there week after week is just creating this gaping wound that's not gonna heal.
So right. Like people would have much more respect for him if he just said, you know what? I don't think I need to resign for anything I did. He could say this, but for the best, due to all the controversy,
Yep.
for the best of the town, the best thing for the town, I'm going to step down and resign and just let things, cool off. And people would have much more respect for him. I don't know why he doesn't do it. You're right.
And I have a lot of respect for the position of the board. I don't necessarily, I'm not talking about the 5 guys that are sitting up there right now, but for the actual position itself. And right now, if I were sitting in one of those seats, I would be embarrassed about what I was bringing to that chair.
Would you privately be asking Chris to resign? If not publicly?
Personally, yes. And
you think
personally, well, I would do a lot of things differently if I were in one of those chairs.
Do you think any of them are? Do you think any of the 4 of them are saying, hey, Chris, you need to resign, like even privately?
I don't think so.
Have you asked them, like, have you talked to them about that, or did you even get an opportunity to?
I personally have not. I have friends who have met with Tom Theodore and John Connolly, or with Tom Theodore and Mike Loughran. And there's a real disconnect between our perception of what's happening in that room and their perception of what's happening in that room. It would be funny, except that, everything is falling apart. So it's not so funny. They just don't seem to get it.
Has any public official and public even or said that they want Chris gone? No, nobody said anything.
No.
It's just so weird. That is weird to me at this point. Like,
It's a united front. And it's a united front that doesn't allow for any kind of question or dissension. It's just, it's weird.
it is weird. Gonna be interesting to see what happens next.
Well,
But it might be kind of slow. I mean, I think the next thing is the upcoming hearings. The Tuesday and then the following Tuesday. I mean, that's going to be see what's going on in Canton. See if there's more protests. But I mean,
well,
is
a
it just
lot
going
of
to
people,
continue? Yeah.
a lot of people have asked about recall elections.
Oh yes, tell us about that.
There are rules that say that you cannot put a recall request, a recall in motion until 6 months after someone has taken the office. So we're in October now, which means that we're coming up on 6 months since this particular board was seated. I personally am not working on a recall election. I can neither quite confirm nor deny that someone else might be working on a recall election. There is a movement to pull together a special town meeting in which sort of a town hall style town meeting at which people would have the opportunity to ask questions of the select board and the chief of police that they would be able to answer. Doesn't necessarily mean that they would, but that they would be able to answer. Then the three articles on the warrant, I think it's to have that exchange of information, to consider, depending on the response, to take a vote of no confidence, which is a non-binding vote of no confidence
Awesome.
in the board and in the police department.
Wow. That would be amazing.
And if,
When is that? When will that happen? Do you have
well,
any idea of dates, or is that just proposed?
there have to be, in order to call a special town meeting, you need to submit at least, I think it's 200 valid registered voter signatures. So the group is collecting signatures right now. And I can tell you, if anybody who is listening to this wants to sign the petition, there's an email address that there are people who are monitoring it and who are helping to facilitate getting the signatures. There are people who are afraid to sign it.
I bet.
Because signing a petition like this, when it goes into the town clerk's office, it becomes a public record.
Yes, it does.
And so there are people who would be fine, I think, with petitioning the select board, but because the police are included as part of it, there are people who've been very nervous about signing it. We had one person who signed it and then came back later and with a black marker and literally went right straight through her name. The unfortunate thing about that is that it rendered the entire sheet.
You shouldn't have let them do that. You should have said, you know what, too bad. You signed it. Like, because that ruined it. Oh God.
So
my advice then is to collect one signature per sheet. Like, honestly, because you don't want to lose entire pages of signatures. I hope there wasn't like 20 signatures on that page.
No,
I've collected
it was-
signatures. I
Thankfully,
know.
there were only like four or five others, and one of them was the signature of the person who was collecting the signatures.
So that's good.
All right,
Yeah.
I found it. It's all one word, Canton Special Town Meeting at gmail.com. So if anybody is interested in signing the petition, who is a registered voter in Canton, if you send an email, there are people throughout the town who have them. We can facilitate your getting the chance to sign it. And the
And that's
last thing that's on
Let me say that again. It's Canton Special Meeting at gmail.com.
Canton Special Town Meeting.
Special Town Meeting.
Yep. All one word.
Canton Special Town
gmail.com.
Meeting at gmail.com. Okay.
Yep. So, and the last thing that's on the warrant is that, if should the people at the meeting decide not to take a non-binding vote of no confidence, then they can choose to request a third-party audit of the Canton government and of the Canton Police Department. And, if everything is happening the way that it should, people who are doing their jobs well should welcome an audit, because
Exactly.
that's what it will show.
Exactly.
And if you don't want people looking at what you're doing, and, having people look at what you're doing is a pain in the neck. But if you're doing your job correctly, it's a pain in the neck that's going to show that. So that's what's happening now.
I hope it happens. Canton Special Town Meeting at gmail.com.
Yes.
People want to get involved in that. So the recall might happen now, right? In October, is that right? People are gathering signatures. We don't know.
It will, assuming that enough signatures can be gathered. There's a chance that, depending on the timing, if the request for a recall, and not only do you have to have the signatures, but you also have to have a candidate. So if it's within 100 days of a regularly scheduled town election, then it would just get pushed to become part of that election. So next April, both Tom Theodore and Mike Loughran are up for re-election, or their terms are up, whether they decide to run for re-election or not. So there is potential, at this point, likelihood that it would be April before any votes were cast, be they regular election or recall election.
That could be an exciting April.
So,
Sounds like it might
there
be
are
exciting
5
in April
seats
in
on the
Canton.
board. If that were to happen, there is the potential that there could be 2 3-year terms, 1 2-year term, and 1 1-year term that's up for election.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens if they keep pissing people off. I think that it's gonna happen.
There is that potential.
Is there anything else you wanted to share tonight about anything that's going on, Jennifer?
I just wanted to say thank you to the people who are supporting us here in Canton. And for the people who think that, we should be doing something instead of clutching our pearls. That was my favorite expression that came back to me. Don't just clutch your pearls. Well, first off, I don't have any pearls on. And I'm not clutching them. We're doing what we can, but there are things that we can do that are easy to see, like what happened at the meeting last week with the signs and the tape and the chicken in the back corner. And then there are things that take time and happen very much behind the scenes, but just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not happening.
There you go. I love that. I've been doing the same thing with workers. There's so much It frustrates me too because people just assume nothing's going on. It's like, no, no, no.
Yeah, and
There's
that's
a
certainly
lot of
isn't.
work going behind the scenes too that you don't know about. You should know about. You should get involved.
We have a lot of very motivated people.
Awesome.
And I think, was it you who called us the Canton grandmas?
That's what I say. Like, it's so, to me, like anyone like there was that young dude who's a correction officer after the meeting. He was telling people cope. He's telling a bunch of women to cope.
Yeah.
He was being a dick. It was like, dude, you're a fucking dick. Like, stop being a fucking dick. Have some freaking respect. Like, seriously. He's like, don't get loud on me. You're being a dick. Like, it's like, look who you're talking to. It's a bunch of women. How can you get mad at women like that? I never get that. Like, if a woman shows up to a political event, like the mom shows up, grandma shows up, there should be some respect. Like, I don't get the lack of respect for it.
You were talking about Diana Desaglio.
Yes.
I can never pronounce her last name, and I always feel bad about it. I was at the Massachusetts State Democratic Convention last weekend. I was a delegate from Canton, and she stood up and spoke and delivered what she had to say in song.
Yeah, she's amazing. She can sing.
She sang to the
she's a
entire
singer.
convention, which was really cool. And she has a beautiful voice.
She does.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I've seen her sing at like St. Patrick's Day. She's definitely a good singer.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
That's why I don't get how these dudes, like five older dudes, basically.
Mhm.
I'm guessing they're all older than me. Like, I'm old now. I think all those dudes are probably, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I think at least the majority of them are older than me, no matter what. Like, you got 5 dudes up there and you have all women and you're not going to let them speak. You're not going to show any respect. And then the dudes in the parking lot, the Santa Claus dude and the other dude, the third.
Yeah, well,
like
Mr. Santa Claus, who stood up and complained about bullying a few weeks before that. So he actually spoke at one of the select board meetings.
I saw that, and he cried about bullying.
Yeah.
I think that it's funny because I looked him up. Peter was a top sales guy for selling TV ads for like Fox 25, Boston 25, and some of these other local TV stations. And I just said, how good of a salesperson could he actually be? Because like the number one rule of sales is don't make yourself look like a hypocrite. Don't lie. He got up there and he did his testimony about bullying, and then he shut up and tried to bully people. I mean, that's not good sales. That's like the worst sales. When you're a fraud, you're not going to sell anything. I mean, that's.
I just got a text message from my friend Trisha, who was on your show.
Oh, we know Trisha. Yeah,
yep.
We talked to Trisha.
And she said, tell Mike if you can that Trisha says there's a systematic issue of police not following protocol, and that she's asked the question every 2 weeks at the select board meeting, and you can tell Wendy Murphy that. And that there's underreporting, and if there were protocols followed, they would be able to ask general questions and they wouldn't have shut her down. Poor Trisha. She was the next person to speak at the meeting not this last meeting,
the
but
one
the
before
last
when
time
they shut
were
people
allowed to speak.
Yeah.
She was the next person. She got cut off right then. Then
again, all women, and you're being rude to women, like the rudeness too, like just cutting people off, the way that they cut people off. I've been to, like I said, I've done a lot of journalism, a lot of activism throughout the state, mostly cannabis, but I would say I've been to at least 20, maybe even 30 different cities and towns, hearings, and especially watching them online now. We get to watch them on Zoom. I've never seen that. I've never seen like how rude, just very rude. Like usually they have a buzzer or something. Never that. Never. They're so friggin' rude in Canton.
Well, and my biggest concern about that is that if you're busy watching the clock to make sure that you're holding someone to 3 minutes, then you're not listening to what they're saying anyway.
That's why they should have an automatic timer buzzer, just have it go off, and it's ridiculous. And you're so right. And it's like they were ahead of schedule, and there weren't even that many people wanting to speak. It's like I've seen so many city hall hearings where they let 100 people speak. Like they just go on and on and on and on and on. They're limiting to like 15 minutes and 5 speakers or 10 speakers, whatever it is. They're not even like doing the full 9 yards where it's like there's 100 people who are going to speak here.
Our concern about that, the 2 meetings before that, the board chair, Mr. Theodore, had said, well, I think it's important, we can make time to hear everyone. And they had let people, whoever wanted to speak, stand up and speak during that public commenting period. I have other issues with other things that happened at those meetings, but they had allowed the public commenting to go on much further than 15 minutes. At the meeting before that, the public commenting policy was brought up. It was discussed, and it became very contentious, and they made the decision to table the discussion until a different time. The next meeting came, it was back on the agenda. They brought it up. There were people standing up at the microphones waiting to speak. They didn't even look up. They just bulldozed through, passed the vote, went on to the next thing on the agenda, which was about the subcommittee assignments. Again, people standing up, waiting to speak, completely ignored the fact that they were there, bulldozed through, got to the end of the meeting when Mike Loughran commented that, well, the only thing left on the agenda is the public commenting period, and looked like he wanted to throw up as he was saying the words. And then Tom Theodore read the new policy beginning to end, announced that they were holding everybody to 3 minutes, and then just bulldozed through until they just dismissed us all. So it felt very planned. It felt like we were set up. They didn't want to hear what we had to say anymore. So we were set up. And then, as in the middle of all of the confusion that came out of that, was John Conley's second hot mic moment, in which he said, "See, that's what I'm talking about."
Right. Yeah, we saw a lot of signs too, calling that out at the last meeting. Mike Conley.
Hot Mike John.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, he didn't quite learn his lesson the first time, and all that the second hot mic moment did was call out the fact that that his apology was just checking a box.
Right.
And, I don't know if they'll ever see this, but I have a message for John Connolly just in case he does. I want him to know that Tony Andriotti would be horribly ashamed of the way that he behaved.
Who is that?
Tony Andriotti was, when I worked for the town, he was my boss. He was a former selectman here in Canton. He was the town treasurer for quite some time. And then for over 20 years, he was the Canton Veterans Agent. And he truly loved this town and always put what was best for the town ahead of his own personal feelings when it came to working for the town. And he wasn't a perfect man, but he was a really incredible guy. And was my very good friend and my mentor, and someone who was incredibly well respected, and he would be so ashamed of the way that this select board has behaved.
I'm sure.
So I'm glad he's not here to see it.
That's a good thing, right?
Anyway, thank you for letting me get that
Thank
off
you.
my
Is there
chest.
anything else you think we should be covering on this, like in terms of future guests and things? Like anyone that we should be speaking to, like even some of the folks who are doing a protest or signature gatherers?
You
Is there
know,
anyone that we're missing?
I think that anyone that you might be interested in speaking to about it, I can make that happen for you.
Awesome. So let's talk more about that with
Yeah,
next guests, next
absolutely.
shows, because I want to
Great.
cover much more on this too.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer.
We appreciate the support and the knowing that there are people behind us, because this isn't easy,
No, it's not.
but it's really important. So we're doing it anyway.
Thank you so much for being here tonight, and we'll be in touch soon, and we'll
Great.
keep seeing what's going on. I'm gonna go check out Turtle Boy too myself right
Thanks
now.
so much, Mike.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Right. Good night.
Good night. We're the Young Jerks. My name's Mike Crawford. If you're watching, please subscribe, follow, like the in the comments, all that stuff. Make sure you share it with your friends. And again, you can give money tonight. 50% of all our donations on the Cash App or Venmo go to the Karen Reed Defense Fund. It is Mike Crawford 1, I believe. On I don't want to make. Let me just make sure because I got it right here. Yeah, it's Mike Crawford 1 on Venmo. Mike Crawford TYJ. No, excuse me, I screwed that up. Cash App is Mike Crawford 1. I always screw this up. Mike Crawford 1 on Cash App. Mike Crawford TYJ on Venmo. I should get them the same. I never planned on doing this fundraising stuff. It's just funny how you choose things and it works. I hope people, if you want to donate, you can donate that way. I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank everyone for calling in. Nick Rocco, Jennifer, who's still here. I think I'm missing someone else. Oh, yes, Eric. We talked about the cannabis issue. I also wanted to throw up this here. This was another letter in support of Shannon O'Brien earlier this week that came from some science-based group, Jeff Rawson's group. They're talking about supporting Shannon O'Brien. They sent it to the treasurer this week. You can also send letters if you want to support Shannon O'Brien to the treasurer. I think that's definitely a good thing to do if you want to support Shannon O'Brien. If you want to support, obviously, Karen Reed, there's a bunch of ways you can do so, but freekarenreed.net is the website. There's also the event that we talked about earlier tonight with Nick Rocco. If you're following us, please subscribe to us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all those places, iTunes, and Spotify especially too. I want to thank you all for supporting us. We'll see you next time. Mike Crawford, check it out.